welcome to another exciting video from Gobbler Ridge Farms. Actually, Gobbler Ridge Farms Kitchens. That sounds professional, almost. Anyway, today we are going to be smoking a Boston butt, and that may or may not be a spectacular thing to a lot of you out there because you do it all the time. But in all of my years of cooking, whether it be over a campfire, on a grill, in my cast iron skillet, whatever the case may be, I've never done any smoking. Now, some guys down at the Liars Lodge would take on those tasks of doing all the smoking while I was out doing a lot of the hunting and working in the woods and stuff like that, and I'd come back and it'd already be done. And they were pretty doggone good at it. So I have never needed or had a desire necessarily to get into smoking. Well, 2 years ago, my wife wanted a smoker for Christmas, and I thought, well, while I'm out working in the orchard, she'll be home smoking. I'll come home from working in the field and have a great some great smoked meat for dinner. And well, 2 years later, it's still sitting out on the deck, brand new, still under the cover. Hasn't even been seasoned in. And so this past week, I was looking for some pork chops, and I saw Boston butt was $1.98 a pound. I did not know how economical a cut of meat that was. And so, with the Super Bowl coming up tomorrow, I decided I'm going to get that smoker off the back deck, and I'm going to try this. So, this video is not a how to do it necessarily, because I am certainly not an expert. I do have a friend and subscriber over in Columbia, South Carolina that is a judge and competes on the barbecue circuit, but I'm not going to mention Dave's name. Oh, sorry, Dave. But, you know, the taste and all with barbecue is subjective. You know, you may have 90 competitors out there, and you might like 70 out of the 90 recipes, and they'll all be good. I don't know how you can judge it sometimes. But, you know, and sometimes you'll get some barbecue that is just, it didn't quite hit it. But other people are raving about it. So barbecue is somewhat subjective. So as a first-time smoker, I have gone out on the internet and I've looked at different recipes. I've watched numerous videos from other fellow YouTubers. And I've kind of put together from all of that, I rolled it up to this big ball and came out with the recipe that I'm going to use today, because I anticipate it's going to be suited to my taste, and as long as I like it, it'll be a contest winner. So this video is basically about, you know, for those of you who have never smoked, maybe afraid to try to smoke, how good a Boston butt can you make on your first attempt? Let's find out. Now, in preparation, I have already trimmed the fat cap down on this. If you have too thick a fat cap, one of the things that doesn't render down real good, and the bark that creates on it could just slide right off real easily. So all the videos I have seen say that you trim that fat cap down, and so I did that prior to starting this video. Now, you can use olive oil, I've seen on some recipes, and you know, different things, avocado oil, whatever you want to do, vegetable oil. But a lot of the videos say for your binder to use a mustard. And so I'm just using regular yellow mustard. It's what I happen to have in the refrigerator. Now, they say that the mustard doesn't necessarily do a whole lot onto the flavor. It's supposedly a binder to keep your rubs and all of those, the dry ingredients to stick to it throughout the cooking process. I don't know on that, but when I mentioned doing the mustard, my wife got very excited. Oh yeah! So, on my first attempt, I am going to use mustard as my binder. So we're going to rub this around, get it all in all the cracks and all the right places and stuff. So while I'm slathering mustard all over my butt, I need a moment of privacy. So I'll be right back with you in just a minute. Okay, now we're going to mix up our dry rub. And like I said, a lot of people are very secretive about what goes into their dry rub. Others just go and buy something that's store-bought and maybe add to it and what have you. So here's what I came up with that's appealing to me, and I'm not going to show you how to do a Boston butt and not give you my recipe because I don't know if it's any good or not. We'll find out together. But I am going to start off with a quarter cup of light brown sugar. Put that over in there. I have 2 tablespoons of black pepper. Pour that in. I have 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. 1 tablespoon of paprika. I normally like smoked paprika. I didn't have any of that, so I'm going to go with just regular paprika. Now, most of the recipes I saw called for about a tablespoon of garlic powder, but I like garlic, so I added about a tablespoon and a half of garlic. I almost feel like you can't have too much garlic, but I have overdone it once or twice in my life, so I'm going to go with about 50% more. Now I'm going to use onion powder. I use this a lot on some of my steaks, and most of the time the ratio is going to be about 1 tablespoon. I went about a tablespoon and a quarter on this because I like onion. So once again, everything suited to taste. Some people throw in a little cayenne pepper here. Bloop, bloop. Get the light in on that, that's right. It calls for about a teaspoon on one of the recipes I was looking at. If people are a little heat sensitive, I am going to just not measure that. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit to get taste. Probably way less than a teaspoon, but it'll give it hopefully the right balance for my particular family. Mix up all these ingredients together, and heck, I might just go and start putting this on the store shelves. Call it Gobbler Ridge Butt Rub. I need somebody in marketing to come up with a better name, but you know what I mean. And I'll just tell them what's in it. Secret spices. Anyway, let me mix this up, and then we'll get to doing some rubbing here. All right, and now comes the fun. We're going to take some of the rub, and we're going to start sprinkling it around on top there. That brown sugar, make sure it's broken up. I was worried there wasn't going to be enough rub when I started off. A tablespoon of this and a tablespoon of that. But when you get it all put together, it turned out to be quite a large amount. So I think I'll be just fine on this. Now, one of the things that I have read numerous times is that you don't want to rub this around. You'll start rubbing your mustard off. You rub off your binder. You'll clump this up, and so you'll have pockets of real good flavor and pockets of blandness. So what you want to do is you want to pat your butt. Man, I don't know how this is going to come out and not sound bad. But anyway, pat your ingredients into your butt. Do not rub your butt. Wow. I may have to select the thing. This is not made for children. All right, so I'm going to continue doing this. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put the rest of the ingredients on the bottom as well. Get it on all sides. So just make sure that the entire outer surface of the Boston butt is covered with your secret dry rub. Wow, that's looking great. I like the way that looks, but I'm not done yet. Like I said, I look at different recipes and I tinker with them and will adjust to suit my needs. If you've ever watched some of my other cooking videos, you know I like to play around with flavors and stuff. But this is my favorite flavor. And this is Grill Mates from McCormick Applewood. And like I said, I couldn't tell you what an award-winning barbecue was, but I have a cousin in South Carolina that made some applewood ribs for a wedding event one time, a rehearsal dinner. Probably the best ribs I've ever had. So I have loved applewood ever since. So I'm gonna kick it up a notch here and add some applewood rub on top of what I did on the other ingredients. So, oh yeah. And the one other thing that I'm doing is using applewood chips for my smoke. So I'm gonna have a double dose of applewood here. All right, let me finish rubbing this on, and then I'll be done with the rub. Oh yeah. I could probably eat this right out of the can. My wife would never know. I just blame it and tell her it was Cheetos. She wouldn't know. It's starting to rain, so this is where I normally park my lawnmower. So I pull it out, put it under a tarp, and put my smoker back here under this tin roof. That almost seems like it would be a great place to smoke anyway. So I'm gonna get the camera out of the rain and we'll go over here and take a closer look. But I'm gonna have to film around the raindrops for now. So anyway, got the smoker under the cover where I can hang out with it, and under an old tin roof, kind of nostalgic. So let me go show you what I'm doing here, and it's time to sit back and let it do its thing. Okay, well, it was starting to rain out there, so I've gone ahead and got this started. So let me show you where I'm at in my process. I already have the butt on one of the racks here. I went ahead and went with a center rack. I didn't know when you're only cooking one butt whether it's best to keep it low over the fire up here where all the heat goes. So I went about 3/4 of the way up, and if it split the difference there, we'll see how that turns out. Like I said, first time doing this, we'll find out, won't we? I also put it in with the fat cap up. Now, there's tons of different opinions on that. Some people say do it with the fat cap up, so it renders the meat down. Some say put the fat cap down so that it protects the meat from the heat. All kinds of different things. So what I'm going to do is, I don't think that I'll overcook the meat because my smoker has a water pan right here, so I think that'll protect it from the direct heat and force the heat around it. Now the fat isn't going to render into the meat. The meat is mostly water, and the fat and the water won't mix, but it can help baste it to a certain degree. And then for the first 4 hours, I'm going to go inside and make a spritz with some apple cider and a little apple cider vinegar that I'm going to spritz on here every hour during the first 4 hours. And at the 4-hour mark, I'm going to go ahead and flip it. I'm not going to wrap this one because I want to try to see if I can make a real good bark. Unless, of course, when I come back to check on it at the 4-hour mark and say, yeah, I probably really need to wrap it. So I'm going to start off fat cap up, spritz it with my apple juice mixture every hour for the first 4 hours. Then I'm going to flip it fat cap down for the final 4 hours and see if that works. So the other thing, I am using these Weber applewood chips. I think that's a good combination with my applewood rub. And one of the other things, a lot of people say soak your chips. Other people say don't soak your chips because all you're doing is steaming. You're not really slowing the wood down. Since the fire doesn't actually touch the wood chips, I'm going to go with wood chips unsoaked. And one other little thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a couple of wood chips in the water, and that way if they permeate there and come up through the steam, don't know if that'll help, but I did that with the cherry wood on the chicken the other night and it turned out pretty good. So if you get something that works, stick with it. Get something that doesn't, change it. Otherwise, that's the definition of insanity, right? I should know. So. All right, got the wood chips in. Got the butt on the rack. Let's close it up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for the first 4 hours, I'm going to shoot for a temperature of around 250 to 275 degrees. And then when I flip it, I'm going to try to drop that down to about 225 degrees for the last 4 hours. Then I'll stick a thermometer in it to make sure that that brought it up to the proper temperature. But anyway, hey, I think I see smoke in the background. I do. We're smoking. And now the hardest part, we wait. Now wait a minute, I have a list of chores I can get done while I'm waiting. The advantage of living on a farm. Be right back in a few hours. All right, I'm at the end of hour number 2, and it was raining too hard to film at hour number 1. So what we're doing now is every hour during the first 4 hours is we're going to come out and we're going to spritz with a mix of apple cider vinegar and apple cider. And most of the recipes I saw said about a 50-50 mix of that. I went a little more on the apple cider than the vinegar part. I didn't know if the vinegar would make it too much like Carolina, but that's what I went with. All right, all spritzed up, ready to go. Hour number 2 in the books. We're going to spritz it 2 more times, and then we wait. Okay, looks like I'm hitting 275 now, and I was supposed to be at like 250 to 275 for the first 4 hours. I was a little between right about 200 degrees, maybe a hair over right at that on that last hour. And one of the things I've read is they say you need to kind of keep your temperature consistent, but it's been rainy and cold. The wind's picked up a little bit, so some of the conditions have changed. So I'm trying to make some adjustments to try to stay in that ballpark. I maybe have a 50 to 75 degree range. I'll have to research what that does to it, but I'm hoping it still turns out good. Like I said, I don't know if that's a big faux pas or not, since this is my first go around here. I guess we'll see, and I would say shortly, but how about another 6 hours? Or 4 hours, 5 hours. Oh well, somewhere in there. Depends on what the thermometer says shortly. Oh yeah. All right, time for the final spritz, and then I'm going to turn it over and then let it run for about 4 hours. Okay, I have the Boston butt out of the smoker and out of the oven. The oven, you say? Well, I was putting the meat thermometer in, and I couldn't get it up past 180 degrees in the last little session. I went ahead and even wrapped it in tin foil, trying to get it up to what most of my recipes said needed to be 195 to 205. Although when I look on this particular thermometer, it says for a well done pork roast 170 degrees Fahrenheit. So I did get it up to 180. So because I had to go a little bit longer, I ran out of propane at some point during my last check during that hour. So I went ahead and brought it in and put it in the oven at 275 for about 30 minutes, seeing if that would help top things off. With the oven having no draft. It's been windy and rainy today. It is the day before the Super Bowl, so it's a little cool out there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe too cool for smoking. But in any event, I'm going to call this done. I'm actually going to warm it back up tomorrow anyway, so I think it'll be good and safe to eat. I'll do some more research on the temperatures and stuff. So what I'm going to do right now, because it is after midnight, and I put this on at 1:30 today, and it's an 8-pound butt. So that seems to be a lot more cooking than I should have done. So I'm going to let this rest and come back in and open it up and pull it, see what it tastes like. It's my first one, so if it doesn't turn out perfect or good, that's understandable. I'll learn from this and go back and review and see what kind of mistakes I made. Hopefully, if you'll give me some constructive criticism and not tell me what a bonehead I am, you can help me out here. But still haven't tasted it yet, so it may turn out good. So time to go rest. Hopefully, I don't fall asleep, but I want to give it between 30 minutes and an hour or so before I break into it, and we'll see what we got. Alright, it's after 1 o'clock. I dozed off for a little bit, so both of me and Boston Bud have been resting for about an hour now. So let's see what we got here. Zoom in on that. It certainly looks good. Bone came out fairly clean there. Ow. Need to give me some gloves. tears apart better with my hands, but it's a little hot. I'm going to keep tearing this apart for a little bit. I'll get back to you in just a moment. Alright, there you have it. That's my first try at doing the Boston butt. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator overnight, and we're not actually going to eat it until the Super Bowl party tomorrow, which, since it's like 1:30 in the morning, is actually today. But is it the best barbecue I've ever had in my life? No, but for my very first try, it's not bad. Put that on a bun and we'll be just fine. So if you've never tried doing a Boston butt or doing some smoking and are concerned that you can't pull it off, this is my first try and it's going to work out okay. We're not going to throw it away. We're actually going to be able to eat this. So don't be afraid. Give it a try. Get out there and smoke your own butt. Bad advice coming from a little guy. But in any event, be prepared for a long day if you do. And I certainly learned a few things along the way here, and will hopefully improve on my next go around. But don't shy away from it. Might just work out in the end. In any event, I gotta go to bed. I'll see all you turkeys on the next video. Actually not bad.